that Memphis.
Hey, what's going on? What's going on, y'all? I am Dark Riddler, voice of the voiceless, or as this man calls me, the man, the myth, and the legend. Welcome, we got another
No.
conversation going. This man right here is not a content creator under any circumstance. He just visits other people's content and streams. He
Mm.
has a lot that he wants to have to say in regards to mental health, among other things that's on his mind. So I'm gonna give him the floor, and I'm just gonna jump in periodically. Boss man,
Damn.
can you tell
Damn,
us
it's
about
Riddler.
yourself? Tell us about
Oh,
yourself.
well, before that, it is the man, the myth, and the legend. I can't get it wrong. I say that to LG. I say that to Sperry. I say that Aki. That you guys are legends because you guys don't kiss ass and do what other people need to, do. Like, oh, okay, I'm gonna kiss ass to be here, and then that. I don't come from the school of that, and it is what it is. And to get my mind back in the time where, especially gaming, is it's an interesting time. So yeah, yeah, no. But myself, my name, I go by AnansiDaGyuki. And I just do. I'll be here and there. I used to post Instagram, just a little art here and there. But it is what it is. But like, yeah. Um, what would you like to know, Riddler?
Okay, you said that you had a lot to say in regards to the whole mental health thing after hearing me and LG conversation. Which, mind you, I actually lost several followers. So I, it's not a big deal, but it didn't surprise me.
It sounds foolish because I think you and LG were dead on the money. Someone who deals with like mental health, like it's very interesting that if you have numbers, people regard your mental health as more severe than someone who has little numbers like 100 or more, or even lower than that, and say your mental health is invalid. And I feel like, for people to unfollow you and, saying these things is the truth. Like there's people that, have said, that all left side has gone on go, oh yeah, yeah, because you're going against our beliefs, we're gonna get at your children, we're gonna go and get at your family, we're gonna attack you and you're toxic, you're this and that and the third. And soon as they get called out for that bullshit, my mental health, it's been attacked. Somebody help me. Like, no, not like two wrongs don't make a right. And the thing is, at the end of the day, if your mental health is very severe, go and get some help. I did that last year. I was a wreck. Even before that, I have DID. I got multiple personality disorder. I got anxiety. I also got paranoia. I never really suffered from mental health until someone pushed that on me, because mental health can be something you get or someone can push on it. A lot of people say, oh, well, I suffer from depression. No, no. Have you gone to a doctor, or else have you gone to a therapist or someone who is in that field, right? It's kind of self-diagnosis is a kind of real thing, but then it's also a fucked up thing. I know no one can also afford therapy, but at the end of the day, like, we gotta keep it being like, those people who like to discredit people's mental health, they act like they're doctors. And shout out Greek God X, who's a big streamer, he always says everyone online tries to be a doctor. I'm like, I know there's doctors online, like especially like in the gaming space, but you got to think of it like this, like, how are you a fucking doctor and you don't have a degree? That's why when it comes to mental health nowadays, I make sure not to say anything, even if someone said, oh, I heard you're in a great space, you talk about it. I'm like, I'm not no medical professional. I'm not no no doctor by any means. Take my um advice with a grain of salt, because if I say these things, I'm liable. If trigger word suicide, if someone commits suicide because of the advice I gave them, I'm liable for that. You know, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people be like, "Oh no, you're not," but you are, because at the end of the day, the advice you give someone it's going to be crazy. Like if you're losing weight and somebody starts getting like internal things wrong with them because you advise something that works for you, you're liable for that. So a lot of things people don't think about when this online thing comes about it. Like with the other side, like look at zombie kills and all those people, right? People support foolishness every single day. And I'm sorry to bring her up. I told LG, I said, so let's stop talking about that bitch. I say what I said. She's a bitch because nobody calls and talk ill about the dead. I wasn't raised like that. I've seen people do that to my family. And I don't fuck with that at all. And then people will say, this is why you got problems with people. No, this is because you kiss ass. This is why you kiss ass. I don't care if I got a high five. Go fuck yourself. I'm sorry, Riddler. I'm sorry for
No,
going off
you
like this.
good, man. You
But it's
good.
the I have to say what I have to say because it's the truth.
I told you,
Because
you got an open platform, man. You can say whatever on your mind.
hey, it's the truth. It's the truth because at the end of the day, I, like we're black people. Some of us want to get into content creation. Some of us don't. Like myself, like I just don't kiss ass. I could be there. People follow me like every single day and
Mm-hmm.
tell me I should stream, and I was like, nah, I'm good. Because at the end of the day, when you stream, you have to bend the knee. Look at all those people. Like February soon come, you're gonna see all Black History Month and say, I want to see my black brothers and sisters win. And those are the same people that backstab them and go, I didn't get from you just said that you don't fuck with Twitch because it feels like a tokenization them giving you front page for Black History Month. Pick a side. I come from the school of the Black Panthers. If I'm gonna do stuff like boycott stuff, I'm gonna go and tour that. I'm not gonna use Twitch.
Yeah.
I come from the gaming era, right, where Machinima, um, Screw Attack, and all those people. We didn't really talk about emotions. If we did, we're like the first generation to talk about emotions online because we trust those people, the student like group, like back to when you and LG was talking about how a lot of people have stopped talking to you because of the things you said, but you have said things to them to in trust, and they use that against you, and that's sad. That's really sad because at the end of the day, if you can't trust your parents or your family at home, especially as a gamer and you're online, and you can't trust your immediate circle, your immediate so-called friends, I don't know what to say. I really don't know what to say to these people. And I just why for me, like I lost a lot of people as well, like, over this year because I went and spoke about my not political ideals. I'm very apolitical. I don't believe in the left or the right wing or conservative. I'm just like, you know what? It's a long shot, but hey, I'll vote for my beliefs as long as my belief system is not messed up. I'm a
Yeah.
Christian. I don't go and that thousand times go and tell people you're an abomination. I don't tell LGBTQ people like that and that they're abomination and stuff like that. But it's like you see them online. It's crazy. Like you mentioned about genocide the other day. Like people were actually like, yeah, I'm down for white. I'm like, wait, what? So
Yeah.
it defeats the purpose. Yeah, a lot of it defeats the purpose, and that's what really frustrates me. Is like you have one rule for us, but you don't have one rule for them. You have one rule for. It's like what my mum used to say. Because in England, we talk about racism because it's institutionalized. Because a lot of people won't show it. At least in America, you go like, "Hey, I know this person doesn't fuck with me. This person doesn't vibe with me. So at the end of the day, I don't need to be around them. I don't need to be this." But then it's a countercultural thing where a lot of these people, especially in America, want to adopt the English way and say we're institutional. America's not institutionalized. Same way with me, like we're in over here, and a lot of people want the American way of thinking. I'm like, hey, we're not America. We maybe have started America, but we're not them. you know,
Yeah.
we're just different people. And I feel like at the end of the day, we could overcome a lot of these things if we just could speak in a room. A lot of people got mad at Dave Chappelle, but I'm like, if you went and listened to the message, his message was mental health awareness. He was talking about how his friend, who was a person, died from suicide because our own people not disrespected her, disavalued her as a person and as a trans person and someone who's LGBTQ. And I feel like at the end of the day, if he said some things that were offensive, I can understand where you're coming from, but it's comedy at the end of the day. If you take someone's political views from comedy and Twitter, shows how really insecure you are. Like I always say this, if someone doesn't like me because of my political views, I just have to look at them and go like this, and I go like, yeah, you're very insecure. You like, I don't, yeah. So that's really what I have to say. But if we're
Yeah,
gonna elaborate,
I
do your
mean,
thing.
okay, so here's my thing. You know how I've taken the genocide and people just count the same over and over. I've seen it at least 4 or 5 times. The original time, it was
Mm,
in that liberals of TikTok.
wow.
Yeah,
I don't even care about TikTok. I don't
I
even
don't
like
either.
even
It
talking
was
about
just,
that. Yeah,
it was kind of just
it's
up
just
there.
there, isn't it?
Yeah, it was
It's
just
just
there.
there. Yeah, it's just
And
there. Yeah.
I'm like, okay, is that the point? Is that the part? Is that where we've gotten to now to where, you know, people just want whole groups and whole races just killed? Like,
Mm.
mass genocide is that. There's no changing the meaning of the
Ah.
word. There's none of that.
Mm.
So
Mm.
is that where black people are at now? Like just mass murder.
I, I think it's a lot to extend from slavery. Come on, like at the end of the day, we can't hide what you can. We can't hide this, right? We can't.
No.
How much as we try, we can't hide that. Someone like me, like I'm from the Caribbean or the Caribbean, like you Americans like to say, and we come from like mixed, a lot of mixed interracial relations and all that. A lot of people be like, how can you be this and that and that? For me, I'm Jamaican Chinese and I got Jamaican Indian in me, but I know I'm mainly black. That's the one first. But I grew up under like my grandma teaching me stories about Chinese, like and Eastern stories and stuff like that. So and out like in Jamaica, we have a saying called "out of many were one," right? So I don't really believe in genocide and that. I'm down. If you had said like for races to die, I'm like cool, but this is kind of on the lines of the hate in slavery. A lot of black people like to go and band together and say, well, I'm like, not every black person was a slave. Not every black person has this kind of mentality that they know that they think they're like this, the whole tab and all that. And I'm like, bro, you don't know your history because at the end of the day, those black people have put black people in slavery. Like, when Nancy Pelosi went and I'll take a knee for George Floyd. She was wearing a kente cloth that had a tribe that was that sold their own people into slavery, and with that was shocking. To even like no one did their research. There's people that brag about that. I know people who brag about, yeah, my family was slave traders, and I'm like, you know what? This is why I don't mess with that. Like, if we're talking about CRT, like critical race theory, you got to go and hold everyone accountable. Every person of color is accountable for people being have mass genocide because of things like the Egyptians. Like if we're gonna talk about reparations, the Jews can come and at the Egyptians says, "Hey, where our money at?" you know,
Yeah.
or and other people like groups of people. So it like for me to hear all this, like you hate people. Like one thing that ticks me off is the black brothers and the black sisters would talk crap about a white person, but they're with the white person and sleep with them and talk about genocide or how much they hate white people. That's very hypocritical, in my opinion.
You have every right to feel that way. No questions
Mm.
asked. You
I like that. That's why you're
it
the
is what
man.
it is. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, and you're right. It does not make no sense. It's like, okay, oh boy, without getting hardcore political, because I'm, as you know, I'm with you. Fuck left and fuck right,
Mm.
and I'm at the point where,
Mm.
man, fuck conservatives too. I'm not gonna sugarcoat that. I've let that be known. I'm not gonna be. You're not gonna put me like I'm just okay. Since I choose not that side, I have to choose yours. No, I'm me. That's all there is to it. No questions asked. But when do you, well, rather not when, how do you think? Because racism isn't going to stop. Let's put that. Let's just
Yeah,
put it
no,
bluntly.
for sure. Yeah.
What do you think would make it
But like to stop, like where would it stop if we had? Yeah, for me,
to
it's
deal
just
with it?
like how to deal with it. Let's have the conversations. I studied the Black Panthers a lot. My mom and my grandma are very avid about African history as well as other cultures, so I'm very versed at that, like that. But I wouldn't say, not I don't want to go and say discredit my black brothers and sisters and go like, oh, they're not educated and stuff. But Fred Hampton, when they came with the Panthers, he worked with alongside a lot of other races, even the poor white people, to uplift their people. So did Malcolm X, so did Martin Luther King Jr. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Let me correct myself. And I feel like if we're gonna go on that round, let's go and first of all, let's deal with us, because there's self racism in the black community. We have to come and speak about it. Forget all the labels, not disrespecting your labels in respect. Let's just speak as black people. Forget being LGBTQ plus. Forget being left or right wing. Forget being religious. Forget being Nation of Islam. Forget being Christian, Hindu, Buddhist, whatever you believe in. And let's just talk about as black people, and we can deal with that. As soon as we deal with that, we can go and talk to these other communities and say, what do we need to do? All right, this is what we've done in our community. This is what we're suggesting it. We're not trying to imply it, but hey, let's try that out. Let's try this out and see what works. And if anything, I think that's gonna be a benefactor in change, because if we can have those conversations, it'll be more productive. But no one wants to have these conversations. They always talk about we need our own platform. I'm like, there's our own like streaming platform. There's a brother named Major Linux. He made one. They didn't want to use it. There's a brother they talked about the other day. I'm not gonna air out the sister's name, but she was like, "Oh, we need our own black esports team," and I'm like, "There is one. It's called EMP. It was been around for years. It's called Empire of Arcadia. It's owned by Isaiah Triforce Johnson, who's the most patented gamer ever. He's in the Guinness Book of World Records. If you know, I think Twin Galaxies, what started by Walter Day. He's the reason why competitive gaming is where it's at, because he started, working with Guinness Book of World Records to put people's like scores. If you had a high score in Pac-Man, you're in the Guinness Book of World Records because of him and all these other things. And Triforce worked with him over the years to make gaming where he is, and he's in the Gaming Hall of Fame. So, and he's been trying to work with him, but because people don't like him and he don't kiss ass, he don't bend the knee, they just were like, Triforce is a pimp. Triforce likes to go and disrespect women. Triforce, like, I've heard it before. So
Wait,
when people go like,
wait, I got a
yeah,
question. What exactly did he do to not be like, or what isn't he doing?
I don't know. I think he just didn't kiss ass. A lot of because a lot of the players he helped, or like, he's from New York, and New York has like a big gang culture there. So if it's either one way, you either stay out of trouble and try and keep your head down and try and make it, or else you could join the street life and do what they do. You either become one way or the other. And he helped a lot of those kids from being homeless and joining gangs, and use gaming as an outlet. And most of these gamers, like Justin Wong, NFC Yipe, Stanford Kelly, and the list goes on, of gamers he's helped throughout the years from even different coasts. Even internationally, he's gone back to Africa, and he's helping the Africa diaspora to create their own esports income and esports revenue. You know, but he's just not bending the knee in the West. So I've seen it, like with UNLG and the rest. You guys don't bend the knee, so we're gonna make you suffer. So I'm like, nah, it's kind of stupid when you hear some of these people going like, we need black. I'm like, if we're here, we're here. It's just you just don't want to support it.
Yeah, and to be honest, that's a lot of it. Like, as
Mm,
much as people don't want to sit there and just say it, I don't care what race you are,
mm,
nobody is just willing to just say that. But the ones that do, it's like like I said in the conversation with LG, they're ridiculed and everything else for it,
Yeah.
which will never make any sense to me personally. But it
Mm,
is what it is. And like LG said, we just gotta find our own way about doing it.
mm,
Of course, it's going to be harder because we're not, as you said, bending the knee. We're not kissing ass. We're just doing what we do every day, and we're trying to slowly move up to our own goals. I ain't gonna sit there and say partner because I know I don't want a partner, but and I can't really speak on what LG really wants to do. You know what I
I,
mean?
f- I think what LG was saying about like taking leverage, that's not wrong with that. Like, getting leverage in the sense that, if you have a business, you got to, and you want to like get distribution and stuff like that, you have to work with other companies for able to you to start up. Like a big example, you have to work with a bank if you want a loan, like a business loan.
Yeah.
And unless you get other people to support you, but that's investors and you owe them money. So it's either you want to owe the bank and you be like, you know what, I have more security that I have my own thing and no one else is going to take it, or else I could go and join these people and go, you know what, I can just, and then they'll be like, you owe me something, you know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
it depends where you want to be at. And the leverage thing is not bad at all. I'm not gonna say kissing ass for that, but it's just you have to know where you put your pockets. That's why I said God bless the dead Nipsey Hussle when it came to him with the business and the acumens, the way he explained it, and he talked about how he owns his masters and he owns this and he owns that, and he had several companies. Was even working with the youth and young people to go and build their own businesses and establishments and all that, because he believed in business and how if you can manifest it, it can come true. But I just feel like if you believe in something, you'd be good. Like I said it, like if you know you have something and you're good at it, there's no one can hold you back. Like I feel like when Ruin Leon said I think because he was on a live stream and some system must have came up. It takes about 6 years or longer for you to blow as a content creator and you're black. I'm like, no, you don't. Look at Leon. He came like about like 6 months, and look at him. He's like 100 like thousand on YouTube, right? And he's got a silver play button. That shows people like what he's doing. I remember PK Sparks, the hotness. He was like streaming and he wasn't getting nowhere, and this is back in like 2012 or 2013. And Chuka Conroy, he was bigger than him, and he's still bigger than him, but like PK was doing numbers at that time because Nintendo was doing like, oh, you had to be a partner with Nintendo, or they want to take your revenue and they weren't making money. But now Nintendo's giving leverage for you to for them to you to stream their games. But then afterwards, a lot of these other black brothers and sisters I've seen over the years who didn't complain about, hey, are being held back. They just kept their head down and just did their thing, and they blew. It's
Yeah.
just these people I feel entitled all the time and go. Don't get it wrong. I know it's hard. I know it's hard to build a business. It's hard to build a brand. I know it's hard that you're being held back to some degree. But then there's people who see things and it's you have to be in a different light. Like especially
Yeah.
when you see it. Like for me, like I hate when people go and say, I live in poverty. I'm like, do you have a roof over your head? Yes. Is your fridge full? Yes. Can you get clothes every other week? Yes. But you're not disenfranchised like you say you are. There's people in like third world right now, and like even where I come from, right, not in the UK, in Jamaica, like even in the Caribbean, there's a whole lot of political stuff that's happening right now, and it's coming like a dictatorship. People can't get good medicine and good food. The government's holding back money. I come from an indigenous people in Jamaica. Like they're trying to take our land like how they do in the in indigenous Americans. So I understand the struggle, but it just grinds my gears. I'm like, as if you don't come from the hood or you don't struggle like that, I'm not gonna knock your struggle by any means, but it just defeats the purpose of what you place as a struggle. Because for me, I'm like, if it's the mind, I'm fully with that, because that's a very powerful weapon. People hold pain differently. People say I haven't been through some. I've been through a lot. A 5-year-old's been through a lot. I should know. I was that 5-year-old being through a lot. You see your first body being your grandparents. You just go like one of your grandparents. You just like, yo, what? You like, yo, you shouldn't be. I was like, yo, I shouldn't even. It took me till 17 to get over that. And there's a lot of things people can't really, grasp and work on. But
Very much so.
I ain't
You're right.
knocking it.
No, and
Yeah.
you make a valid point about that. And see, you being from another country, so you pretty much on
Mm,
the outside looking in, like at all this as far as
yeah.
America goes, how
I'm like,
blacks goes, and everything goes. So
I think it's 50-50. Sorry, cut you because at the end of the day, like I watched the video on one bro and preach, and someone was like, "You don't understand how it feels," and you're in America. I'm like, of course I know how it feels. I'm a black person living in the UK. We are not by any means. Asians get more love than us, and I'm part Asian. I'm like, damn, I'm not part Asian. I'm black to them. I'm just a nigga. Just straight up. I can't sugarcoat this. I'm just a nigga to them. There's only certain people that love you and they show you the love, and that's it. I've seen it all over. Like, wherever you go, you're just like, it depends how you carry yourself. You're just a nigga. It's just you have to work on those applications of yourself and mind on where you have to be or where you have to be at, and that's just really the truth. And at the end of the day, I may be in the outside looking in, but I know the struggle. I know what you're going through.
yeah,
It's just my brush is a little different than yours.
that makes sense. That make a lot of sense. Honestly, that really does make a lot of sense. And see, and I don't want to have to bring up as much as I asked this one cat yesterday. Was it yesterday? It was either yesterday or the day before yesterday. I asked him, "What's more important to you?" I said, "The government or the people." He told me straight up, the people, because the people make up the
Mm,
government that we're having to deal with now.
mm,
We need the people.
mm.
We need, as you said, we need to come together as people because technically we're the ones putting these people in these offices
Yeah, for sure.
that's creating said problem that
Mm,
people don't even want, didn't ask for,
mm,
feel like they don't need.
mm.
So, unfortunately, the only way that's going to happen is if we come together.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
So, how are we going to act? And I keep trying to tell people this. How are we going to act to change? And as you said earlier, we can't even fix ourselves from within.
Yeah, no.
You and
Um.
I'm a big believer in you have to fix everything inner before you can even go take what
Mm,
the outside is.
mm.
If your house fucked, what you gonna go outside for?
That's
Can't
true. It's true. It's true. I think it's in so many levels. It's just damn, really. You want to reel it back. That's what I'm saying. Like the way you think, you guys think, it's just like a big man fuck to me. Cause I always have to think like that when I'm in the UK politics server. I'll be like, yo, how am I gonna answer this? But like, yeah, no. Back to like what I said. If I don't know. Maybe I won't say I doubt it. I just feel like in this kind of era we live in, the very toxic. She's like women like to say toxic masculinity and toxic, But like, shouts out DJ Walker when we are on the Twitter Spaces. I think it was around summertime when I got to know you a bit more, you Aki and Disparity,
yeah,
and LG was doing the Twitter Spaces, and also Shagsworth. I think when Shagsworth, I think you retweeted, I think today or the other day, about how Shagsworth was talking about we need to fix home and the community, and I think that's a very good example. Me, when I was a young bull, I used to go and do outreach. It's like a Christian thing where you try and not convert people, just speak to them about the community. What do you think the community needs and stuff like that? And then you talk about how you with the church and you offer in prayer and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And once you do that, now you might be able to bring someone into the church and they do the same thing, and it's a beautiful thing when you see that. And I just feel like at the end of the day, if not from like a Christian standpoint, but from a like human standpoint altogether, we could go like, all right, I have differences, like you, like I, we might be in this call right now and say, yeah, we agree with everything. Probably, probably like we might come up to a situation where me and you don't agree with something, and that's cool. And I just move on, because at the end of the day, it's like what I said. Like a lot of people, when it comes to politics or else when it comes to things they don't like, they're insecure. They're very insecure. They have insecurities because one, like you went against something that they really cherish. And if you're someone's your friend, wouldn't you cherish them and leave the values outside? I feel like, if again, leave the values outside of what you believe is right and wrong, unless you're talking about genocide, homophobia, racism, what else, just a lot of stuff that a person with moral compass is not going to agree with.
Yeah.
Then cool. I feel like if you had just a conversation with me behind closed doors and you said, "Look, Anansi, I love you. I like what you come in when you come to my streams, but those stuff you're saying on Twitter, it's really messing up my psyche, right? So either you stop that, or else, like or I got to start distancing myself. I'll rather respect someone who says that than start doing this blanking type of thing. They'll be like, you'd be like hi, and then you'll be like, I see saying hi to me, and then all that. And then when they hear like, oh yeah, no, that person's doing very good, like mentally healthy. They went on Instagram and posted their before and after pics. They're looking clean. They're looking nice. Earn them times for them. Oh, let me go and say hi to them again. And then you go, well, I heard they don't fuck with me, so why am I gonna say hi back? It don't make sense to me. I always say that if you start doing that kind of weirdo shit where you go, oh, I can't fuck with him because what he said, or and it's not like what I just said before those topics. I just can't get there.
Yeah.
You can go and
'Cause
you can slip on a fat dick.
Because I brought this up. I brought this up to a couple people. There's actually literally, it's on Amazon. There's literally a legit book in regards to pedophilia. And I'm like, who in the
Oh
goddamn world,
yeah, I know that.
who let that book get published? And you want to know what the worst part about it is? I read a lot of the
No.
reviews. I'm not joking. All I could tell you is, bro, go read some of the reviews. That shit takes you. Yeah.
That's
I
wild.
I don't see how anybody can even deem that things they do. It's all everything everything is finding its way to being justified now. Like earlier today,
Yeah.
I read a tweet from Della. They trying to glorify incest now, and I'm like, bro, are y'all serious?
Yeah, I'm like, nah, that was weird. I think I must have watched I think LGBTQ, they had like a thing and talking about how they had like a sex that would glorifying pedophilia. That got shot down quick, but I was like, yo, that's kind of wild for even y'all, and y'all like have been like being what's it, tarnished for years for okay, people like touch children and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and it's just like when you hear stuff like that, for me, I think the world's just fucked. I think the world's
Like,
fucked. Not in
like
the sense like I won't say in the sense of like LGBTQ and all that, because these things were gonna bound to happen. But I mean, in the sense that stuff that things people go to prison for,
yeah,
you know, for me, like I don't like Me Too. I liked Me Too before this kind of cancel culture shit here. You know, I seen people in like my family and people go through, you know, Me Too. You know, that's a horrible thing to go through. But then someone who created a movement that was very based on clarity and you know, relief and freedom turned into something because I don't like someone, I have a self agenda, let me go and attack this person and ruin their life. You know, and in
yeah,
there's a lot of people that are in prison right now who didn't even touch that woman or touch that person, but because somebody goes, they did this to me, I'm like, whoa. That's why I like when I watch people like Patrice O'Neill and talks about this, it's like crazy. But then that's why I like Patrice O'Neill, God bless their dead, because he talks about it. He did a bid when he was 16 because him and a white girl and a Brazilian girl, him and a friend went and had sex with them in the back of the car. He told the homies, and you know what happens with the homies? They'd start. One of them got jealous, and one of
yeah.
them goes to the white girl, "Hey, if you don't give me head, I'm gonna tell the whole school what you did with Patrice and them guys." She gave him head. She started crying. A brother, she must have told her brother. The brother's chasing the dude. The school woman goes and said, "Hey, you know, he the and Patrice and the boy he used to slept with the Brazilian girl. They got I think they had to do some time in juvie. The other guy who didn't get nothing, and
Wow.
that girl was like, "You bitch," and he could have went and hated the world and went, you know, fuck you. No, he used comedy as a platform to align himself and disdain himself and go, you can't break me down. That's why I love like Patrice and Bernie Mac. When do you know yourself better than these people? They can't break you down.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
when these people like to go and point fingers and say, "Hey, this person called a girl fat," like I got told I called a woman fat, and I'm like, "Okay, cool. That don't sound like me." I'll go on Twitter. These same people are calling a woman a bitch and calling her out a name because oh, you went against my views. I'm like, whoa. They did it to Gothics. They went, oh, because she did the Little Mermaid's black. There were several people on on Twitch in your community that said they agreed the Little Mermaid should be black. Wait, what? Me, it's a fictional character. I don't really care. But if you're gonna use this kind of thing where we have to go and create characters, there's characters that are already there. Let them be used. Like there's black characters that
Yeah,
are LGBTQ. There's black characters that like Black Lightning. They're using Black Lightning. I love it. But then there's other things that they're using all these characters. Like someone told me the other day, like there was a black Superman. I didn't know there was a black Superman. No one enlightened me. You know, I'm just
it
gonna
is.
say, there is. I didn't know. I'm not. I'm like. I wouldn't say I read comics avidly. I've just said I'm pretty much like in a, you know, not like not amateur, but like a medium slash intermediate level of comics in my knowledge. But like I wouldn't know about Black Superman. That sounded just weird to me, and obviously that sounds weird to me, not to someone else. And like I can totally agree with that. But like you know, it really like it's really weird like how people just go and cancel people because they just don't like them.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
it's happened.
yeah.
See, here's the thing.
And I know you're part of the Goth Squad, so I know you have the inside scoop. So
Oh no,
yeah.
the inside scoop has to stay as the inside scoop. I
School,
have
I respect
I
that. I
have
respect that.
I have rules to follow, y'all. For all the
I
shit I
respect
talk,
that.
I don't break rules,
I
y'all.
respect that. I respect
Believe me,
that.
boss man. But
I can't get at
I
that. I can't get
I
mad at that. I
I
respect
board.
you, gangster.
Hey, look. I borderline the rules as it is. I borderline them as it is. But
Yeah, yeah.
the thing is, though,
Mm,
people keep changing up with cancel culture.
Mm,
You got cancel culture. Then you got people who change it to, well, it's not cancel culture because it's just consequence of your actions, et cetera, et cetera.
mm.
No, y'all know what cancel culture is. Like
Yeah,
y'all know
yeah,
what they know what they be doing.
yeah.
They
If
generally
if you
know.
if you if you're not rocking with me or Riddler right now on this podcast, you don't know what cancer culture is.
It's see the the thing is, it's like this. And Shagsworth actually brought it up. I want to say yesterday. The problem is that you got people who are generally apologizing for their actions, but that's not
mm,
good enough for people.
mm,
They still trying to bury these people who
mm,
are generally apologizing. So, what do you think somebody's gonna do when they generally apologize and it's still not accepted, and y'all still go out there? They not gonna want to.
mm,
They not gonna want to change or try to make up for it or anything like that. Because hell, because at that point you're gonna
mm.
find it. Why apologize? Y'all just gonna attack me
Yeah, that's
anyway.
true. Mm,
I'm damned if I do, damned if I don't, and I'm already damned.
mm,
So,
mm,
and see that's when you know, and it's happened plenty of times. That's
mm.
how you know council culture really.
I know.
There's
Yeah.
several other things involved, but
Yeah.
that's one main reason, in my opinion, why.
I th- well, no one's closet's clean. Like me, I cannot go and say I'm a saint. If someone goes, well, a Nazi, I gotta take a. Words of Uncle Joey Diaz. He says you gotta take a bag of dicks. You just gotta take them and keep it moving. Because
Yeah,
if you don't, you're screwed. It's crazy when we me too a me too. Just think about that. Me tooing a me too, right? It like it's crazy. And even when he says it, like, he talks about you got to take this. It's just, for me, I learned something very real this year. I think it's either this year or last year.
okay.
Abram preached. They said something about was like I think Abba said we're so obsessed with making people pay and making people learn. Just yeah, we're so obsessed with making people pay than making people learn. The
There's a big
baby,
difference.
yeah, the
There's a big
baby.
difference.
Mm, that is a big difference. The baby, they were obsessed to make him pay. And soon as Dave Chappelle got the attention of the baby, they were like, we gotta attack. The baby went to LGBTQ classes and he's a good citizen. You guys told him he wants shit. You said don't support his music. You were like, wait, what? I'm like, damn. This guy is, I don't know. And is he uncancelable? Maybe. I don't know. Dave Chappelle go fuck your money. I've always said it to people. You know when they cancel people, you gotta think to yourself. They cancel all the money. No, they didn't cancel somebody. You gotta cancel all the money because I guarantee you, if a rapper's life is, if you're not Jay-Z, I don't know what to tell you because not every rapper's like, what's that guy name? What Dasco Raid or something like that. The guy who got caught driving lifts. Yeah, he had that one hot song and then he driving lifts now. Certain rappers think ahead of time. As soon as they got the hot song, they start putting the money in businesses, or they actors as well. The acting's going to be the main source of income, but they got other plans to make their own 401k, that $100 million plan, so they can go buy farewell. And
Especially
that's
if
why
they
you
don't
got,
get no more.
yeah, that's exactly what I mean. So that's why you got to think about when you cancel people, you're not canceling people, you're actually just canceling one source of revenue. If you're gonna cancel anything, you gotta cancel the whole platter, and that's why I mean like cancel culture's gone very backwards. Like people said, we need it and we don't need it. I feel like if it's like when you tell a child, and I know you're a parent, so you should know. You tell your daughter, "Hey, don't touch that. It's gonna hurt." You know, because you've grown up and you have the experiences to go and say, "Hey, this is hot. Don't touch that. Don't touch that part." She does it again. She didn't learn. She's gonna feel upset. I should listen to daddy. Why? Because you think it's common sense. People just have to have common sense.
Yeah.
When I was acting up when I was young, I got an ass whooping. I rebelled more. I got an ass whooping.
Yeah.
Would I do that to my kids nowadays? No, but it's just the way you raise your child, and it's. I feel like that's the internet. The internet move like children. I know I'm a wild guy. I know I do stuff to myself that people go say, "Oh, that's why I don't mess with you," and that's okay because I know people can't handle the way I came up. I came up busting balls, like yanking at people's chains and cussing people. That's
Yeah.
just me. If I got at you, Riddler, That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. You LG, like I like you guys because you come from my cloth. Like we just go like, yo, hey, you talk. I'm ugly. Damn, baby, don't make me get at you now because if I get at you, let me just leave that stuff alone. But like, yeah. So that's really it. I feel like if you go and tell these people, hey, you did that. I understand you did that wrong. Let's move on. But there's people who's heinous out here. Like I don't consider myself part of the gaming community no more. A lot of people go, "Oh, you want to be a part?" I'm not part of this gaming community. I'm like an atom, one proton, one neutron. I'm just here. You can't live without me, and that's it. If I'm gone, you gotta wonder where I'm at. I'm just somewhere
Yeah.
because I don't agree with this heinous type things about I don't like someone, so let me go and do some stuff like in the Smash community. I was part of that since I was 16.
Yeah.
To hear all these allegations, not even allegations, things that people are actually out here raping children. That's crazy. I'm glad I went to most of my Smash events with my little brother because my brother is the big gamer of us. And he's 16, I'm 25. I'll go like, you know what? I have to be with him, and I'm glad I went with him because imagine if I left him with someone that would have destroyed me. So a lot of these people, when it comes to the Smash community, they go like, "Oh, we need to take accountability." You gotta take accountability in your own actions. A lot of these
It's true.
people were allowing drugs into. I'm like, who allows drugs now in children? That's one. Who allows alcohol now in children? Child's practical. They're gonna copy whatever. I was like,
True.
when I was when I was 16, like when I had my first alcohol, right? But 16-year-olds can drink in the UK. It's perfectly legal as long as you got adult supervision and all that. You're good to go. One of our homies were 18. Technically, they're adult. We're good to go. You can buy it, but you have to have ID. So a lot of things in the UK, you have to go out fast. You can get married. You can drive a car. Learn to drive a car. You know, um, you could drink alcohol. You can smoke cigarettes. There's a lot of things you can do in the UK. I think even in America, there's a lot of stuff you can do before 21. But people just choose not to listen, and that's why I think nowadays you have to move past this kind of, "Oh, I know the difference between right and wrong." No, you got to apply it. You got to go and let those children know they you can't be doing this. You shouldn't. Even if you're gonna have these parties, tell them to bring them home, come back, and then go. Okay, let's have a good time. But there's a lot of people that go, okay, let's go and quote say date rape things or cool. I'm like, whoa, I don't want to be part of that. Same way I don't like, when people are getting at your family and people are getting at other people's family. I don't respect that. I can't personally follow that.
Yeah.
I grew up different. And I'm like, sorry for, like, I'm gonna say this to you, and I know they're not gonna apologize. I'm sorry you had to go through that because that's fucked up. By any means, that's fucked up, and I don't. It's just like wow. Like even with the courting, I love the courting's content. Like even if the gaming content, that was nice. Soon as
Yeah.
he got about tech, Rich Tech Reviews USA's children actually, and said he was drunk, I'm like, okay, the first time's understandable. Every other time now, you're a piece of work, man. You need help and you need to nah. So it is what it is.
Okay. Well, see, And you brought me up, and thing is, it's like, how can I say this? I learned
Mm.
during that time frame what being together and helping out is, because you had the ones who, as I said, didn't want to help, but you had them random ones, people you didn't know,
Mm.
willing to reach out, you know, or at
Yeah.
least say something, or at least ask you all right. You know, that
Mm.
that to me separate people who are adults and people who just all about
Yeah,
by
yeah.
by tenfold. That's the same way I'm like really treating people now. It's like
Yeah.
I got them people who want to have a conversation, and other people I just need to and just be
Mm.
trust and living and tell you that's why my Twitter
Yeah.
a lot better. Once I really got to doing that and just taking it serious and sticking to it, yeah, it was a whole new thing. It was rough,
Yeah.
but I genuinely got past uh, got past that phase of life and just learned
Mm.
how to
Mm.
really survive.
Yeah, for sure.
And like, this thing is nothing except for okay.
Mm.
Here's matter of fact, today, my cousin,
Mm.
he Ubered.
Mm.
Now we got two different locations where I'm staying at now, and then another location, Memphis, Tennessee.
Mm.
Now he had to okay. Where I stay at now is pretty much what they call a college city, because yeah, it's college
Oh
and
yeah, yeah,
stuff like that.
yeah.
Now you would think with that you would get that same type of energy as you would in a major city like Memphis.
Mm.
Now Ataki could tell you all about it because he practically lives. Like I could actually, honestly, I could actually drive to his house right now and come back
Mm.
and do that and probably give or take 3.5 hours. That's how close we are to each other. No, actually, I
Mm.
take that back. I just realized I moved a bit further, so it'll probably be about straight 4 hours.
Mm.
Okay, now when he Uber here, he gets that hospitality. They humble, they respect each other. You know, they,
Mm.
the what do they call it? Uber drivers? Yeah,
Yeah.
Uber drivers. They had them conversations. They don't matter what color you are and all of that.
Mm.
That man go out to Memphis. He got to worry about all this stuff gonna get taken from him. I
Mm.
gonna get taken from him.
Mm.
He gonna be shot. All because one, they don't give a damn. Two, how he drive.
Mm.
Three, and you know at the end of the day, it ain't gonna matter if he's black or not. They
Yeah.
gonna do it because they want to do it. I'm
Mm.
telling the point I'm getting at is yesterday I made a whole post. I don't know if you've seen it or not. And I sat there and I just said it. There are several black people who generally just want us to say we supposed to support all their actions, we supposed to support the black and black crime, or just outright don't even act like it exists or anything.
Mm.
That is so damn wrong.
Uh,
You're literally, we have people literally, 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 literally asking us as black to ignore our own racist crime, our own racist
mm,
patterns. And we ain't even
mm.
talking now. We ain't even talking about no other race.
They're talking about
Our own race.
on
Now, we ain't
yeah,
even talking about even our thing. We getting on
yeah,
this right here.
yeah.
We
Oh
supposed
snap!
to we supposed
Go
to
on, Riddler.
just ignore that and just say, okay, there's no problem. Let's just focus on
Yeah,
everybody else. No, we have a serious
yeah,
problem.
yeah. We do. Oh, carry on, and then I'll chime in.
We have a serious problem.
Yeah, no, like for me, like I grew up. Right now, I'm in middle class. Right, I grew like I'm bourgeoisie, meaning like I'm scratching two pennies together, like just to survive. Like but like in a sense, like of like the whole black on black crime and all that. It's seriously a problem. Like I said on Twitter, that there was a brother who said black on how do black lives matter when black on black crime's still a thing. And I said that because this white person called him a coon for saying that, and I'm like, wait, what? Like I don't hate white people, no, I just hate white people like that, the ones that call themselves our ally. They got the black fists, every shade of a black person or person of color, send you down with us, and then afterwards say some blatant. That's to me, that's the kind of low key racist or is racist. For saying that, because there's that in this community. There's a lot like me. I'm in and out of middle class, and but going back to the hood and all that my whole life. Had to stay at cousins, seeing stuff I shouldn't seeing drugs, not guns, but seeing people get stabbed up and all that. Well, guns crime's big nowadays, but like, well, no, back then it was wild. But like, coming up in like the mean streets of London, like you have to come one way or another. I'm just glad, and like the world's trying to make me go that way, but I refuse to, because at the end of the day, I'd rather have more knowledge of self, knowing that hey, my people can prosper if they just put their minds together and go like, you know what, let's put the guns down, let's put the knives down, let's put all this street stuff that we have. But no one's gonna come, and like a lot of these guys who talk about street stuff, they say so it's a real stupid thing, it's a waste of time. You go jail, now what? You can't, like a lot of people, especially in Britain. It's like for us, we want to go to America, and I go, okay, that's for me, that's weird, right? They just want, it's like, oh, it's the mecca for black people to prosper. I'm like, there's a lot of kissing ass that has to happen for that to happen. For me, I've always seen it like, for you to talk about these things, and like they don't want to regard what's happening in the UK. Like for me, I've seen it too many times. They laugh about it like it's jokes. Like I went in a stream and they were talking about knives, and someone said it was like in Australia and the UK. I find knife crime so funny. I looked at this sister and I just had to stop talking to her for because I got triggered, because I'm like, you know how much people lost their lives. Like I played around with guys who had knives. Like we'd be playing around, that not
Yeah.
knife fights, but just to even say that now, looking back, I'm like, damn, I was so foolish back then when I was young. It's like now it shows how much people are very insensitive to people's views, points, and insensitive towards, and oh, because it's not my country, shouldn't care. I care what happens in America. I care that like George Floyd, that brother, the matter what rap sheet he had, he shouldn't have died. Full point blank period. Breonna Taylor, boyfriend, not her. They shot her. Just sat there, and the brother, I forgot his name. I think it was Amon Aubrey, who was jogging. All these things it's sad, but then we will talk about that first before a black brother who dies because of knife and gun violence, before we talk about and that's a serious problem, and a lot of people won't talk about. They won't go, this needs to stop. I feel like, back to the conversation we had earlier, I think we need just OGs in the community who's done this lifestyle, want to be a mafioso, a kingpin, drug cartel, and go and move on with it. And once we get that out of the way, we're gonna prosper. They're starting to implement that in certain places. In the UK, I know that's happening. I know in the US it's been happening, but it's just that they haven't implemented it how they should do. And if they do, they have to make sure their child goes there and they're not in the, someone's intervening. A lot of, and I think a lot of it's also it extends from having a figure in the home, or a model, like a role model in the home. Because I've dealt with even TERFs and all these like radical feminists and all that, and they talk about, well, a boy doesn't need a real moral model in his life. Yes, he does. For me, I feel like as a black young man, I'm lucky I had my uncle. I did have my step pops, but my uncle gave me more knowledge of self than my step pops. And here's why. Because I couldn't go to my step pops and start getting emotional, start crying in front of him and go, oh, I'm going through some. Woo, woo, woo. I went to my uncle, he would tell me, you got someone to talk to, you keep it between us, don't go to no one else. And I'll tell him and all that, and I feel good. Yeah. Right? I couldn't tell my mum because my mum was a single mother going through stuff, and at the end of the day, a lot of black women, especially in the black community, like to raise their boys to have aggression in their heart, and then they're struggling, so they're gonna have that kind of mentality to go, well, my mom needs money, I need money, I have to join the streets. And they look like a big homie in the, oh, that's Big Woo Wop, he's known for giving fades, I want to be like Big Woo Wop. Then he comes Little Woo Wop, he starts giving people fades, and then there's Tiny Woo Wop. And the cycle continues because they didn't have a positive role model. Yeah. There'll be someone, Tiny Woo Wop, Big Woo Wop probably be, if Big Woo Wop is like the G, Tiny Woo Wop probably telling Little Woo Wop, like, no, I did my time, I try to do that. You gotta be different than me. I see your trajectory. Your mom tell you get good grades, all that. You know what you need to do? Apply yourself. You good at basketball, right? Go and shoot ball. And he will fight gang members with of his own just to see Tiny Woo Wop be successful. And that's where the disarray happens. Huh?
Wow.
But how? Yeah, wow. That's just the truth. Because that's what I see. I feel like if you have members like that will really stick their back out for you, especially for the young black youth, they're alright. Even though with the women, like with the girls, you got to have a woman figure. They don't have their mom in their life. You gotta give them to a woman that's gonna take care of them, or someone that's gonna raise them in a way. Boys need to be raised by a male figure and also a woman figure to guide them. So do women. Is vice versa. It's the saying goes that if you raise a boy right, he'll become a warrior. But if you raise a girl to become a woman, she will create a nation. And that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a woman that can give me a nation, just the building blocks. But as if I become a father, I don't want a girl because that's just stress. But I would love to raise a girl to create a nation that she will know that she don't have to rely on. I won't say a man because I hate when women say that. You don't need no man. You know how much women cry day to day. I'll go on these TikToks, these men affairs channels, and this is why a lot of men laugh when they go, men are toxic, men are this and men are that. No, ladies, everyone's toxic. It's just the fact that you've been so conditioned to go and live like the city girls and Cardi B and what Megan Thee Stallion. All them women have boyfriends. They probably could be getting a ring right now. You know, if they don't cook or don't clean, how comes our first set got you on Instagram looking at Cardi B cooking and cleaning?
Are you are
Make your
you
mind up, ladies.
are you advertising yourself as being single right now?
No, I'm not ready for that yet. Maybe next year though. Next year, once I have a surprise. I'm gonna post it on, like, I'm working on myself physically and mentally. The ladies can come, they can DM me, they can do whatever. I don't mind with that. You know what? Put this in there. I'm single, ladies. Not say it, not uncle and not. Oh, the uncle, no, Nancy. Riddler sent me the big gangster, big homie. Riddler sent me. This is so funny. Remember that time when that chick was talking about how, yeah, Riddler, go and post your jars. I'm like, just tell you like the brother and keep it moving. All she had to do was shoot a DM. I don't see why you're doing all that extra work. I was just putting that out there though. I just feel like it's just the truth. All these women, when it comes to this kind of men are toxic and all that, just like you got to paste the bets where it is. Like,
That's why.
I'm gonna shoot my shot, but anyway, I'm single. But I'm like right now. I don't
Hey, if
want
you're
to. I
gonna
don't want.
shoot
I
your
don't want to
shot,
be in it.
shoot your shot. That's all
I
I'm
ain't
saying.
shooting no shot. You trying to put me under the bus? I'm just saying. Hey, I'm out here. I'm out
Hey,
here.
hey, dark real ain't. I'm unavailable unless something.
He's unavailable now. I gotta respect that. I don't want Miss Ridley to come and get me. Oh
Not
no,
who?
no.
Who? I'm single. I'm single and
Oh,
unavailable.
he's single. He's single.
I'm single
Oh,
and
he's single.
unavailable.
I like that. I like that. No, it's complicated. You should just say that.
I'm like Jadakiss. I just want somebody to braid my hair.
Aye, you can't. Aye,
Nah,
you can't
let
argue
me
with that.
quit. Let me quit.
Nah, but
For real.
no, but mm.
Hey, let's wrap this up though. Like
I
seriously.
wrap it up here,
Hey.
man.
Appreciate my man's coming by here. Nashi, thank you. Thank you.
Hey,
But seriously,
thank
coming
you, the
by.
man, the myth, and the legend.
I gotta thank you, man, for coming by and wanting to speak your mind, man. I'm really trying to get something going where I can just let people just be able to say what's on their mind. Because I know a
Yeah.
lot of people don't will see that
Mm,
things are just more than just political stuff that's going on that they see around them that they
yeah.
might not want to speak on, but I just
Mm,
want to be able to give them a place to stay, where to be,
mm,
games, life itself, anime,
yeah.
whatever. You know.
Hey, anime. We can have the talk about anime, but I feel like that's more people that needs to be in there.
Oh yeah, I
I,
got one person in mind already. They already told me they'd be willing to if it's a
I'm down. I'm like, I study animation. I love anime. Like, so I'm down for that talk.
right.
But
Hey,
like, yeah.
you good people. Hey, appreciate y'all coming by checking this out. Y'all stay out of bad trouble. I'm out. Next time.